Hi, my name's Alana, and I've decided that I'm going to start talking about my experience with OCD and derealization because, as much as it sucks to talk about, and I almost don't want to remember any part of what happened to me, I do realize that if I would have heard more people talking about what OCD can actually be like and derealization, then maybe I wouldn't have been so far gone for so long. So last year, I was officially diagnosed with DPDR, derealization, depersonalization disorder, OCD, panic disorder, and generalized anxiety. I am currently in treatment for all of these things, especially the OCD. I am in ERP therapy, and it has done wonders for me. But today I kind of want to talk about some of the signs that I had OCD that I had no idea were signs of OCD, because when I thought of OCD, I just thought about, repeating numbers and being clean and like wanting your space organized. And that's all I knew OCD as. I didn't even know that OCD could present itself in the way that it presented itself in me. I'll do more videos on my experience with derealization, but for now, this is just the signs of OCD that I had that I didn't know were OCD. But one of them was surrounding my fear of the derealization that I was having, and that was reality testing. I was testing my reality constantly, and by testing, I mean I was constantly checking my surroundings over and over, and I would look at the wall or the TV or whatever I thought was looking weird from the derealization, and I was testing it and checking up on it to see if the feeling was gone, to see if it was feeling normal again, constantly, 24/7, from the time I woke up to the time I went to bed. And in my brain, I just thought, oh, I'm so afraid that I'm just waiting to see until it's gone. But that was actually keeping me stuck. Another one was checking my physical sensations. So I had this really big fear, and still do, of my eyes getting this weird feeling. I still don't know exactly what it is, but I've been to an eye doctor and there's nothing wrong with my eyes. So it's definitely stemming from some sort of stress. And I would get this weird feeling in my eyes, and I would constantly check in and see if the feeling was gone, over and over, all day, from the time I woke up to the time I went to bed. And I would constantly be obsessing over how they felt and if the feeling was going to go away and what was going to happen if it never went away. That was OCD. A big one that I didn't know was a compulsion from OCD was Googling. I was Googling nonstop, and I was looking at all of these like deep dive Reddit posts about how to get better, how to make anxiety go away, what was wrong with me. I was constantly Googling, and what I didn't know at the time is that that was just another compulsion, that I was desperately seeking some sort of answer to these unknown questions, and I couldn't sit with the uncertainty. So I was just constantly searching for some sort of answer. One of my worst compulsions during the height of my untreated OCD was reassurance seeking. And I basically would ask people around me, like my boyfriend or my mom, over and over and over again. I would ask them questions like, am I ever going to be okay again? Is this feeling ever going to go away? In reference to the derealization. Am I ever going to be able to look at things the same way? And I would just ask the same one like 50 times a day. And if they answered with anything that was like, well, like, I don't know, we can't guarantee you'll be okay, I would lose it, like panic attack territory. If they didn't tell me like 100% you will be fine, we know for a fact, I would immediately spiral. There's a big theme with my OCD in not being able to tolerate uncertainty. I am afraid that I'm going to lose control. I'm afraid that I'm going to harm myself without me wanting to. I am afraid that I'm going to snap out of reality and everything's just going to fall apart in front of my eyes. All of these really crazy, hypothetical, losing control scenarios. And I would ruminate on these things, and I would just think constantly about all these different scenarios and what would happen if I lost control. And that made me not want to drive, which was a compulsion. And that made me not want to go to the store, which was a compulsion. And all of these avoidance measures of me being afraid of losing control while I was driving the car or while I was in a store, that was making the problem so much worse. And I had no idea that that's what OCD could look like. There were so many more. And it's crazy to think back on it because once I was finally diagnosed, once I found the right mental health professional, it all seemed to be like so obvious to me. But from someone who never heard much about OCD, it just didn't, I didn't recognize those as signs until I was told that yes, these are other signs of OCD and there's all these different subtypes and all of these different, holes that you can fall into. It's not just cleanliness, it's not just repeating things, it's not just, having these things stuck in your head. There's so many different kinds, and if I had known, I don't think that I would have been left untreated for so long, and I don't think that I would have gotten to the point where I wasn't leaving my house and I wasn't driving and I was barely leaving my room. I don't think I would have gotten that far. So that's why I'm going to start talking about it. I'm going to start talking about different things that I experienced leading up to it being really bad and how I got out of it and how I'm still getting out of it to this day. But yeah, those were some things that I went through that I had no idea was OCD. So, hope that helps somebody.